First at 5. From the University of Florida's College of Journalism and Communications, you're watching WUFT News.
Good evening and welcome to First at 5 from WUFT News. I'm Emily Palazzotto.
And I'm Loren Miranda. Thank you for joining us.
If you spend time scrolling on TikTok, you may soon be seeing a new warning before opening the app. Alachua County's very own representative, Kat Kamik, is leading the passage of the Caution Act. Kamik says the goal of the bill is to warn against the dangers of applications with ties to the Chinese Communist Party. It requires certain mobile apps to provide a warning label, telling users the U.S. government deems these apps dangerous on government employees' devices.
Every person using TikTok in the United States, at minimum, deserves to know that the federal government has banned the use of the app on federal devices due to the severe security risks. This bill would properly inform individuals of the risks prior to downloading or updating the app.
The federal government banned TikTok on government-owned devices at the end of 2022. Several states did the same for state government employees.
A controversial gun bill that would allow Floridians to carry concealed firearms without licenses is moving through the Florida House. The House Constitutional Rights, Rule of Law, and Government Operations Subcommittee voted 10-5 to advance HB 543. The bill would eliminate licensing processes for people undergoing criminal background checks, but would still require carriers to have valid identification on them. Bill sponsor Chuck Brannon described the proposal as simply removing the requirement in which gun owners seek the government's permission to carry firearms.
If you've ever gotten a concealed weapons permit, it certainly is not extensive training, so I think that the differences are going to be negligible after this bill.
The bill is set for legislative session on March 7th. If approved by the Judiciary Committee, it will head to the House floor.
So it feels like after all those cold days and nights, we're finally turning a corner and we're feeling that heat. It's really warming up.
Yeah, definitely. I know. I hope it stays this way. WUFT's Julia Haley joins us now to tell us what you'll feel when you walk out the door in the next couple of days. Julia, are we in luck?
Emily, Loren, we've had another day of sun and another day of heat here in Florida. Sitting in the 70s all over north central Florida, 78 Gainesville and Ocala, 79 the Villages, 75 Daytona, and 79 for Cross City. And outside of our studio, seeing those sunny blue skies, 79 outside of our studio with some southeasterly winds. So it's a very pleasant day outside. Sun is just starting to set. Now for our hour by hour, starting in the upper 60s and dropping into the mid 50s overnight with that chance for patchy fog for your morning. Back to you.
Thanks, Julia. And if you're looking for somewhere to go in this warm weather, traveling from Gainesville to Miami just got a lot easier. Gainesville's regional airport is introducing a new schedule for its American Airlines flight to Miami. The route from Gainesville to Miami was interrupted during the COVID-19 pandemic and is finally recovering. The new flight will leave Gainesville once a day at 6:30 a.m., seating 76 passengers. The return flight will depart from Miami at 9:45 p.m. and arrive in Gainesville at 10:59 p.m. Gainesville Regional Airport CEO says University of Florida students and Gainesville residents should really take advantage of this opportunity.
A watch group on animal research is calling on UF to face the maximum fine, roughly $25,000, for the death of 2 dogs used in research training muscular dystrophy. SANE stands for Stop Animal Exploitation Now. The group monitors cases and discovered UF reported the deaths last year to the USDA. The group believes animal testing is an outdated practice.
There are better ways of obtaining information which are more directly relevant to human beings. I'm sure you've probably seen that legislation has been passed on the federal level, which no longer requires the use of animals for the testing of drugs.
At this time, we have no comment from UF.
Julia Haley will be back later with a deeper forecast on what we could expect in the coming days.
And in the world of sports, you'll see the moment LeBron James made history on the court last night, and the price you can pay to take home a grain of a different kind of sports history. But first, a famous Florida rapper's murder trial has begun after almost 5 years. We'll tell you all about what's at stake when First at 5 returns.
You're watching WUFT TV News.
Welcome back. Opening statements in the trial of 3 men accused of killing rapper XXXTentacion began Tuesday at the Broward County Courthouse. One of the men arrested pleaded guilty to second-degree murder and is a witness in the case. The others are going to trial. WPLG's Ian Margol has more.
Start of a case nearly 5 years in the making. It all started on June 18th, 2018, when rapper XXXTentacion, whose real name is Jesse Onfroy, went to a bank to withdraw cash.
He came in to ask for $250,000, but I was only able to give him $50,000.
The state's first witness was the bank teller who gave him the money that day. Onfroy took the cash and went to Riva Motorsports in Deerfield Beach to buy a couple of motorbikes. But as he was leaving, he was robbed and then shot multiple times.
The taller one was like this: "You don't come out the effing car." And he was like with a gun. "You don't come out the effing car."
Dietrich Williams, Trayvon Newsom, Michael Boatwright, and Robert Allen were eventually arrested in connection. Allen pled guilty to second-degree murder in August and will be serving as a witness for the state, but the 3 others faced charges for first-degree murder.
The Polk County Sheriff says a 21-year-old man with suspected ties to the Lakeland mass shooting last week led them on a wild chase before an officer shot and killed him. Sheriff Grady Judd says Alex Green drove off in a pickup to escape from being served a warrant on a robbery charge. He led FDLE, ATF, and local law enforcement on a chase for nearly 15 minutes. Outside a restaurant in Winter Haven, he fled on foot and carjacked a woman's sedan. The sheriff says Green drove towards a Lakeland police captain who opened fire.
He created quite a mess. He made one last bad decision. He won't make any more. We don't choose to chase, people choose for us to chase them. We don't choose to shoot, people choose for us to shoot them. That was totally on him.
Investigators found guns, cocaine, and cash in the pickup. Almost a dozen people were injured in the drive-by shooting last week.
On the national stage, President Biden addressed the nation in his State of the Union speech last night. NBC's Alice Barr tells us how policymakers are reacting to some of his points.
President Biden on the road today in battleground Wisconsin.
Last night I reported on the State of the Union. It is strong. It is strong. And it's strong because of you.
Building off the energy from a spirited State of the Union address. The president extending a hand with repeated appeals for bipartisanship, though today Republican House Speaker Kevin McCarthy saying his party doesn't buy it.
Well, I thought it was probably one of the most partisan State of the Union speeches I've ever heard.
President Biden hit back against Republican heckling. Fallout today from this moment when he drew boisterous boos for calling out an idea floated by just a few Republicans to let Medicare and Social Security sunset. The president then stirring both sides of the aisle to their feet to back the popular programs.
Stand up and show them. We will not cut Social Security. We will not cut Medicare.
I think he intended this setup, and so I think this was fun for him. They took the bait, and he landed a big punch last night.
The unmasked animosity from some Republicans, a sharp departure from traditional decorum, and a symbol of the real challenges President Biden faces in advancing his agenda with Republicans in control of the House. A key White House advisor telling us the president won't back down.
He's always been a fighter. People may have forgotten it, but we were all reminded of that last night.
President Biden now selling his message directly to the American people as he eyes a second term.
The fireworks started when President Biden started talking about the debt ceiling and the issue of whether any tightening should include Social Security and Medicare. Senator Rick Scott was not named, but he says all federal programs should be revisited and reapproved every 5 years.
All right, Julia, so what can you tell me about this storm that I heard I should be expecting for this weekend?
Well, the storm is nothing too intense for your severe weather awareness week, but how will this storm affect your weekend? I'm Julia Haley with your full forecast in a few minutes.
You're watching WUFT TV News.
We had a sunny and warm Wednesday, sitting in the upper 70s currently. 77 Gainesville, 78 Ocala and the Villages, 72 Palaca, 79 even for Live Oak and Cross City. And for the highs for today, mostly seeing those highs along the Nature Coast, 81 Cross City, 82 for Perry, 81 for Live Oak. Seeing some wind gusts, but mostly along I-95 and even that First Coast, 12 miles per hour for Jacksonville and St. Augustine. Outside of our studio, seeing those sunny blue skies, 78 degrees outside, starting to see that sun set very slowly outside of our studio. Even in Jacksonville, seeing those sunny blue skies outside. Now for Pensacola, we are seeing those clouds, kind of a forecast for what we'll be seeing tomorrow here in Gainesville and continued even into Friday. But here in Gainesville currently, Wednesday evening, we're seeing those sunny and dry conditions. Temperatures are going to drop through the 60s. Clouds are going to start forming, and also seeing that chance for patchy fog in the morning. Those lows sitting in the mid 50s, 54 for Gainesville, 55 Ocala, 57 even for the Villages, 61 Cedar Key. And those highs are going to be sitting in the 80s, 82 Gainesville and 84 for Ocala. Friday through Saturday, expect that chance for showers as we do have a cold front coming your way. This cold front is going to make its way through the Panhandle and then through the Big Bend, and we'll see those showers around Friday morning and even into Friday afternoon and evening. So if you have any evening plans here in Gainesville, you're going to want to change those plans and maybe bring them inside. That way the rain doesn't affect your plans for the week. We had some dry areas, but currently seeing that chance for some more showers on Friday, and then expecting another dry area and a good hair day for your Sunday. And for your weekend, seeing that chance for showers last just a little bit longer, but on Sunday really just seeing clouds, and those clouds are going to clear up as we do get those drier conditions. Muggy meter showing the exact same thing, as we are seeing those humid conditions and then seeing more pleasant conditions after the cold front appears with those showers. So this week, patchy fog in the morning, showers expected for Friday, and temperatures are going to drop into the weekend. On to your 6-day outlook, we are dropping for the weekend with those showers, and then we are rising once again into the 70s for your Valentine's Day. Back to you.
Thanks, Julia. So I hear it's severe weather week here in Florida.
That's right. On Monday, our forecaster Daniela told us about lightning. Julia, what's the focus today?
Well, the focus today is all about tornadoes. In fact, this morning, the National Weather Service issued a statewide tornado warning across the NOAA alert radio system. But don't worry, it was just a drill. Schools and businesses were invited to participate in the drill and refresh their knowledge on tornado safety.
Tornadoes are definitely a big issue in our area. Is there any way you could give us a little lesson on how these tornadoes form and what we should watch out for?
I sure can. So tornadoes, especially here in Florida, we rank 3rd for the most tornadoes per year. So that's a good amount, especially for what we see. You can usually find a tornado in front of a cold front or also somewhere within a hurricane as well. So very, very important that you know what to do in a tornado and how a tornado forms, just to have that knowledge. So we have that warm air toward the ground and we have that cold air up above us. And so the wind shear is going to move this cold air downward. It's going to actually speed up the air and kind of make it funnel up. And same with the warm air as it moves up. And then what we're going to see is a kind of funneling motion, horizontal motion. It's going to start going around and around, making that funnel. Now we are going to have a bit of an updraft, and this updraft will cause the tornado overall. And this tornado is going to possibly be something very important for you to look out for. So some environmental clues for a tornado: you often have a dark and greenish sky, clouds of debris, large hail, and a loud roar, almost like a freight train. So funnel clouds are of course the most important thing that you would look for during a tornado. So we have these categories for tornadoes. The weakest ones are an EF0 and EF1. We also have some stronger ones, EF2 and EF3, and then EF4 and EF5 are detrimental. Now usually here in Florida, we see those 0 to 3s. We've had a couple 4s since the 1950s, but usually between 0 and 3. So those can last for about 10 minutes to even longer. So make sure you know the difference between an advisory or a you will see a tornado watch or a tornado warning, so conditions will be favorable during a warning with those tornadoes possible. Make sure that you stay weather aware, look at the radio, anything that you may need, and then a tornado warning, you are going to make sure that you stay inside because a tornado has formed, danger is imminent, and you need to seek shelter. Find somewhere indoors, make sure that you are able to find a space with no windows that is inside, maybe like a basement or somewhere that is central to your home.
Florida basketball heads to Tuscaloosa for a matchup with the #3 Alabama Crimson Tide. After dropping their matchup with Kentucky in Rupp Arena, the Gators will look to bounce back with another upset win. Florida is no stranger to being an underdog, though. Exactly a week ago, the Gators knocked off #2 Tennessee in the O-Dome. Tonight will be the Gators' third top 5 opponent in their last 4 games. Gators head coach Todd Golden says the program is moving in the right direction, and to come out with a 500 record in that stretch, he says the team has to go in with the same mentality they've built during the tough run.
I don't anticipate our guys are going to, be fearful or scared. I think, we've been able to build a lot of confidence over this past week and a half, playing the way we have, and so, just another great challenge for us.
Tonight's tip-off is set for 9 p.m. And on the women's side, the Gators take the court tomorrow as Florida hosts the Mississippi State Bulldogs for Florida's Play for K Women's Cancer Awareness Game. The Gators and Bulldogs both have winning records this season, but have a lot to improve upon in SEC play. Florida is 3-7 against conference foes, while Mississippi State is 5-5. This will be the first matchup between these teams this season. Florida may have an advantage, though, since the game will be in Gainesville. Mississippi State has won just 2 games on the road this season, while Florida is 9-3 at home. Tip-off for tomorrow's matchup is at 7. And sticking on the hardwood, boys high school basketball district tournaments are underway across the state, and plenty of area teams are looking to make their mark. The PK Young Blue Wave are moving to the district championship and had 0 trouble getting there. PK Young hosted Bradford for a Class 3A District 2 semifinal, and the Blue Wave had this one from the tip. PK Young's full court press got them easy lay-in after easy lay-in. The Blue Wave kept Bradford to just 6 points in the first half. PK had their way with the Tornadoes with massive dunks and easy layups. PK walked away with a 67-15 victory. They'll take on Interlochen for the district championship on Friday. And moving along with other area tournaments, the Santa Fe Raiders and the Eastside Rams square off tonight in the District 5 Class 4A tournament. WFT's Karina Wilson joins us live at Santa Fe High School. Karina, what's the outlook for this game tonight?
Santa Fe High School, the Raiders boys basketball team prepares to take on the Eastside Rams in the district semifinals. I'm joined by Santa Fe head coach Glenn Banks. Coach, your team is 19-5. How have the games they played thus far prepared them for this moment?
We pride ourselves on playing a tough team, so when we get at this point in the season, it's just being consistent, so we're ready to go.
And how have they improved since they last played Eastside?
We've just been working to get better defensively.
Thanks, Coach. North Marion takes on Palaca first, and then the Rams and the Raiders will square off. Back to you, Chris.
Thanks, Karina. There are a lot of other district tournament games in the area. In District 6 Class 1A, Hawthorne takes on Fort White, and Union County plays Newberry. In District 4 Class 2A, St. Francis plays Redeemer Christian, while Oak Hall plays St. John Lutheran. And in District 5 Class 4A, Palatka takes on North Marion. Buchholz and Gainesville will also be in action in Class 6A.
Well, thank you for that, Chris. And now, I don't know much about sports at all, but LeBron's record seems pretty legit. What can you tell me about it?
Yeah, honestly, when anything lasts for 40 years, I think people are going to go crazy. They're going to want to be a part of that moment and honestly keep a part of that moment.
Definitely. Well, there's actually another piece of sports history that's up for grabs, if you want to call it that, and if you're willing to pay up. Someone is auctioning off a bottle of sand. Yes, sand, from the exact spot where NFL legend Tom Brady made his retirement video. The current bid for a piece of this beach? Nearly $100,000 on eBay. A user by the name GadgetGS claims to have collected the sand just hours after Brady posted his video. There are several other listings on eBay claiming to sell sand from this spot, ranging from $33,000 to $10,000. According to the Miami Herald, Brady shared his retirement video from a beach in North Miami.
Loren, I think it would probably cost me a lot less than $10,000 to buy a ticket to Miami and get some luxury accommodations for a few days. And that new schedule of flights from here to Miami might help me out a bit with that.
True, but it's just not the same as this souvenir.
Well, this weather is just perfect for a trip to the beach right now. Julia, can you give us one last look at the weather?
Well, if you're flying to South Florida, we're seeing those beautiful sunny skies outside, some clouds forming, sitting in the 70s throughout the evening. So sunny skies, cooling slightly with those lows in the lower 70s. Perfect day to travel down to South Florida, even Fort Lauderdale or Miami. But here in Gainesville, currently seeing those 80s for the next day. So Thursday sitting in the low 80s. Friday, we are cooling down due to a cold front, giving us those showers and then dropping for our weekend, Saturday and Sunday. Seeing those clouds stay just a little bit longer and then rising again into the 70s just in time for Valentine's Day. Back to you.
Thanks, Julia. BBC World News is next, and PBS NewsHour is coming up at 7.
You can always get news hour by hour on WUFT 89.1, 90.1 NPR News and Talk, or follow us on social media at WUFT News on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram for live local updates on the go. But remember, your Florida news is always on at WUFT.org. Have a good night.